It's like I fell back into the habit of caring about what it looks like rather than caring about the actual product, actual what I'm saying, actually the passion and the heart that I speak on this mic. Welcome back, Mind Bully Podcast, a podcast focused on beating the hell out of your negative voice. Norris Odiase is this fine young brother from Fort Worth, Texas. You see if you watching, you see the Letterman. We just won 6A state championship in Dallas, Texas. Not Dallas, Texas, in Arlington, Texas. In Arlington, Texas, we won. North Crowley, 817, took it home. Anyways, this is a podcast where we overcome that negative voice that tries to infiltrate your mind, your head. I started this podcast sharing my experience with the exposure and caring about what things look on the outside. For an example, for this episode, I'm thinking to myself, how come I keep doing this episode in my room where it's kind of dark, where it's kind of light, where the Cowboys are actually winning in the background, where there's no scenery, where there's no vibe? If you watched this podcast before, there's sometimes I'm outside. And I say all that to say and to start with this. It does not care. It does not matter where you start. It's about the consistency in what you're doing. And it's about the doing. In the doing, in the doing. Even though I want to be sweating right now because this Letterman that I'm wearing is hot, it's about the doing. It's about the showing up. Right now, it's about 9:30 on a Sunday. I let these go on Mondays. But am I going to say, no, I'm not going to post it because I don't like what it looks like? No, because I have a mission. And my mission is to give you permission to be yourself. And I always say that on this podcast. Allow me to explain that. Authenticity is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing that I drive home. I try to drive home, and sometimes I'm not overtly speaking on authenticity this week, but how I present myself through all that I show and through all that I share. Hopefully you take home the invitation to be yourself. God crafted you, molded you, and brought you here for a reason, exactly the way you are. And there's so many outside voices that want you to change and want you to shift your perspective on what they say instead of living your truth on what you say. No. And I start bouncing all over the place because, one, I'm ADD. My thoughts roam everywhere. And two, if you listen to this podcast, I never edit. I don't even know what I'm going to say before I press record. And honestly, I've strategically done that because I don't like content that's like fake. I think in this time, and I bounce back and forth. Like sometimes I have an agenda and have things in my head that I want to get out. But I also want to be able to share the human experience and my journey, my steps. Life is a climb, and I want to be able to reveal the steps as I climb. Even as I test this out, I know years later, whether it helps you or not, personally, I'm going to be able to look back and say, man, I got to this point. I got to this vision in my head of working in entertainment, using my voice to inspire the masses, to inspire billions. I say it. I call it out every morning. My voice, Lord, let my voice inspire billions, touch billions, because I know that God gave me that gift. I'm saying that for this reason. If you have a vision for your life, if you have a big picture for your life or where you want to go, and even if you don't have it all dialed in yet, it's to call that vision out, and it's to live that vision out as if you're that person right now, because you are. And in our lives, we're so much in wait and intention, waiting for that person to boom, happen, boom, happen, boom, happen. Without realizing that our right now is happening. It's par for the course. That's how it's happening. And I wrote this the other day. I write every morning. And today I wrote, even before this, I was like, okay, I don't know what to talk about. Let me write. And I wrote, and then none of it made sense. And it's almost like God invites me to have nothing and to test 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 for your story, for what you want to do in your life. How do you test? How do you allow yourself to test? I wrote this earlier, like I was going to mention. My biggest thing is I'm so judgmental of myself. I'm so critical of myself. I put so much pressure on myself. And I always ask myself, like, where does that come from? I think of athletic sports background, knowing that I didn't have offers that I wanted. I'm wearing North Crowley Panthers. 2013, I graduated from high school. Then I had to go to a prep school. If those that don't know what prep school is, basically, high major D1, a big college that I wanted to go to. The whole thing was D1. I want to go D1, D1, D1. D1 is the highest of the high, professionally for amateurs, rather, at the time. And since I didn't have the schools that I would want, I knew my talent was, okay, I'm a high major player, even though in this high school that I went to, I wasn't showcased as a high major player. I didn't get the ball. There's something that I'm proud of myself, and I was able to bet on myself and bet on my talents and go to a prep school. Long story short, I've told that story. I can tell it again later. But the point is, I got there off the will and the intention and the passion and the purpose that I had then. And as I'm coming to this point now, I'm realizing that in every step of my journey, I've always been counted out. And the reason that I judge myself now so much is because I've been counted out so much from the outside, whether it's coaches, whether it's friends, whether it's people on the outside, because I've been counted out so much. And the underdog story is my reality from the outside. I never saw myself as an underdog, but he's the less likely. You're the less likely. You might be like me in this, where you've had to defy the odds your whole life because nobody had that expectation of you. And so when your expectation is higher than any expectation that anyone places on you, that comes with something. And it comes with something from you. And for me in my story, it came with a lot of pressure. It comes with a lot of judgment. I judge myself constantly. Even with this, I'm going to judge myself after this and say, man, you didn't say this, this, this. You didn't study this, this, this. You didn't talk to this, this, this. You didn't add a verse in this, this, this. You didn't do this. And it's crippling. If you're listening to this and you're like me, and you have that battle, you have that internal battle, there's a voice in your head that uses your drive, your expectations, and tries to turn it down a different path where you're not satisfied with anything. You're so ambitious. You have lofty goals. You put so much pressure on yourself, and nothing's ever good enough. And you judge yourself for having human moments. For example, I ate rice just now. I'm a vegan and I eat healthy, and I was hungry. It's a Sunday. I let myself kind of go. I had a big bowl of rice. I'm Nigerian. We eat rice. Made the rice. I made the stew. It's this red sauce for those that aren't Nigerian. It tastes good. And yes, no meat. And I ate it. And I ate too much of it. And I find that when I eat rice, there's no such thing as TMI because I share my life. And this is why it's so good sometimes to have somebody else in the room, because I'm only going off what I remember. People can give me a topic and I can riff. That's why I like going on lives. But then I put so much pressure on myself to edit. I can't go on lives. I can't do this because I'm so focused. Anyways, I'm saying all that. I brought up the rice because even as small as what I eat and as small as what time I go to bed, last night I went to bed at like 1 because I was at Cowboy Stadium wrestling through traffic to get home after my boys took home the state title for the city. And I found myself this morning. I got up, I looked in the mirror. I said, I saw a beautiful version of God's favorite son right here in me. Anyways, I got ready to go to church. It's like, my church is like 40 minutes away from me. And I leave at 9 instead of 8:50. And I'm so like, I'm so hard on myself, one, for sleeping at the time that I did, two, for not getting and leaving the house at 8:50, three, from eating. And it might sound ridiculous, but it's my experience. And I know for you, you may have certain moments of your day where you judge yourself for the smallest things, and you don't sit there and have a moment to actually challenge the thought of judgment that you're having. It's like, okay, I judge, but challenge the judgment. Because I found that when I don't, I end up looking at the end of my day, and my satisfaction level with myself is just low. I don't feel accomplished. I don't feel like I'm worth the work. I don't feel like my worth or my work is yielding anything. And obviously I know my work and my worth in Christ. I know who I am, but I'm sharing with you some of the things that happens in my mind. And it's even more challenging when after I have that wrestle, even if it's the smallest thing, and the enemy will use the smallest thing to go deeper and down and try to take you down that path. As soon as I go on the Instagram, and I post often 2 times a day on my Instagram, and I'm really trying to pump out life and using my light and my energy to be able to inspire people. When I see the numbers not numbering the way I want it to, and I had a day of dissatisfaction for myself, it goes lower, 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 knowing that my worth, my identity, does not come from the world. It does not come from things. It comes from the word. It comes from the word. And it's so interesting that at your most vulnerable moments, if you're listening to this, your most challenging moments, your moments where you lose yourself in the line items of your day, that you forget who you are. And you forget you're not God. And you're trying to put so much pressure on yourself and judge yourself as if you're God, as if you're supposed to know everything, and as if your way is literally the way. And that's why I'm so grateful to have a podcast, because even me speaking, I didn't know I was going to say that. And this is helping me. A lot of times people, man, that helped me so much. That episode, man, it's helping me, dude. It's helping me too. It's helping me too. That's why if you're listening to this, I suggest the podcast in an open forum for anybody, because you're able to explore topics that you don't usually do unless you have something like this. And so back to the point that I was saying, it's the judgment that in my day is something that I need to realize. See, it's even weird about judgment. I need to realize that I judge myself too much, but then it's like I need to realize. But I recently got on the Amazon the other day, and I bought this whiteboard, and this whiteboard happened to have days on it. It's called the calendar on the whiteboard. And next to it, there was like this section that you're able to list out things. And obviously, it's not really in the sight of the view of the camera, but it's over there to my right. Anyways, I have a whiteboard in translation, basically is what I'm saying. And I wrote free of judgment. And the reason why I wrote free of judgment is the writings that I do every morning. I realized that that's something that I want to let go of coming into 2025. I understand that the best version of myself is the passionate version, the deep conviction version, confident version. That's me. And when I find myself judging everything, like this morning, oh, I woke up late. Oh, I'm late to work, or doing the Lord's work and going to church. Even as I walked in late, I always walk in confident. I'm not one of those people that, oh, everybody's up, I'm going to go sit in the overflow. No, I'm going to go sit in the seat that I want to sit. Who cares? Like, bro, I've never been that person. Even today, going in there, it's a big church. I go to Shoreline. And Shoreline City in Dallas, Texas, for those that's not in the Texas scene. Anyways, I walked through and I almost felt nervous, as if like, oh, you're late. And it's weird. And that's not me. Why did I say that? It's because when you are judging yourself, you start believing the judgment, and then you start showing up inferior. You start showing up as a version of you that's not you. It's like, ew, this is literally not me. To care about what anybody thinks of. It's so weird. And not saying, oh, look at almighty Norris, don't care. But I don't have that disposition to care about what people think. I just like literally don't even think that way. And so when I start thinking that way, because I'm judging myself, it makes me a shell of myself. For you, when you judge yourself, we need to understand what that does to yourself and your goals and your dreams and your aspirations, where you want to go as you judge. Are you actually being yourself? Because being yourself is what makes you yourself, your beautiful self. You are beautiful just as you are. You're stunning, gorgeous. You understand? Yes, you, listening, watching you. And sometimes we need to be able to create safe spaces like this to be able to share that with each other. Three days before Christmas. No idea why I said that. But I'm back home with my parents. I live with my parents. I'm 29 years old, just to get acclimated with you. I'm siding and sitting in. I can say this now for safety reasons. I wasn't going to say it, but I've been in this big, large house by myself for about a week and a half. My parents went to Nigeria. My sisters live about 35 miles away. My brother lives about 250, give or take, miles away in San Antonio. And I've had about 10 days or so by myself. And growing up, when your parents leave and you're all alone in a place, you almost have this idea of, I'm going to wow out and go stupid. I found myself doing literally the same thing every single day. Every single day. Getting up at 5:30. If I don't get up at 5:30, I judge myself. Oh, you should have got to bed early enough to go get up and have enough time with the Lord. And I say this all the time, but literally this is my experience. But anyways, I say that because even from the standpoint of Home Alone 2, let's say I'm Macaulay Culkin, even from the state of Macaulay Culkin, one would think somebody would explore a different routine. One would think somebody would explore a different way to live. And maybe I'm judging myself right now because I was going to say, I literally stuck with the same routine. I got up, had my time with God, I edited, I wrote, went to the gym, came back, did it all over again. And I was going to go on the side of judgment, being so hard on myself, which arrested my attention to this desk and not doing anything else. But since I'm practicing live, not judging myself, I'm going to look at the good. I'm going to look at the good in it. And I'm going to realize that every moment that I allow myself to sit here and lose myself in this goal and be a quote unquote slave to this gift that I've been given to God, and to improve and to improve and to improve my communication. Because even though I'm saying, yes, this is me, but there's a journey, there's a testing stage, there's a seed time, and there's a harvest time. This is my seed time. And hopefully every single morning, whether you're on permission slips on the IG, where I share a voice memo every single morning to those in the group, I send a voice memo, something that comes to my head, something I read, I speak into your life, because I know that we need to hear, not saying I'm some almighty voice, but if I can use my voice to speak to you in those moments of your day, that's what I do. And so I said that because I know that because you have a gift, and you listening, you have a gift, It's to lose yourself in the gift. It's not just, oh, this is what I am. Oh, you start saying, oh, I got to give. I don't got to do nothing. No. You take it in a stage of basketball or sports. If you have a talent, oh, this kid got some talent. Put him in that big school where they can actually have the funding to go on the tournaments, to work and test their skills against a good competition. That's what I'm saying. If you have a talent, it's to put it through testing. And we get it confused when people say, man, you're so talented. You're so great at this. We almost use that as an excuse to pat ourselves on the back. But it's the realization that, it means, okay, that's the battery under our back to go. Part of me is like, oh, are you judging yourself or are you telling the truth? No, this ain't judging. It's a different thing. It's a conviction on the gift, on the purpose, on the vision, on the mission, on the timing that it takes to reach where you want to get to. It's a timing stage. God is a God of pace. God goes at his pace, not your pace, but your pace must in your race, your pace must, match his face. And it's the consistency to be able to say, I don't see it, but I'm gonna do it. 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 I don't feel it. I'm gonna do 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 it. It's about losing yourself to what you want to accomplish in this life. And then you look back and you're like, whoa, because I had my head down, I couldn't look up to see what I've already accomplished and who I've already grown into. It's interesting. I understand in your story, you're so critical of yourself. And on one hand, I need you to stop doing that. Easier said than done. Join the club. Stop doing that, though. We need to stop doing that. And I don't know, let me know. KingNo _ on IG, Mindbully Podcast on IG. I haven't been messaging back because it's a lot. And I just get off there and try to edit and just put it out. Because for me, if the inbox floods, I am aware of myself. And this might sound crazy. You don't listen to this podcast. You don't come for me. You come for the gift that God has placed in me. Speaking into your life. That's what you come for. And that's allowed me to be as humble as I can be and say, I'm an open vessel. It ain't about me. Because when you start saying, oh, these folk, I'm raising my follow account, they coming for me, you're stupid. You're going to lose yourself. And I'm grateful that I have the space to understand that. But then it's like, when people message me and all these things and man, this helped me, I almost run away from it because it's like, bro, I want to do more. I want to help you more. So leave me alone to edit and serve you more. It's so interesting. But I need you to understand that if you're judging yourself, you need to ask yourself, why? Am I judging myself because I want to get to this level where no one else would expect? And when I get there, what do I think that would do for me? I always ask questions, but I like to walk it to my experience because I'm not talking at you. I see eye to eye with you. So I'm going to answer the question. And I didn't know I was going to answer the question. So I'm going to answer the question. I didn't know I was going to ask it, but I'm going to answer the question. Why do I judge myself? I don't think I judge myself for people. I really don't. I judge myself because, honestly, this might sound weird, but I have a pride thing. Benin man, Benin city, Nanja, Edo boy. Yeah, born and bred. I wasn't born there. I was born in Fort Worth, Texas. Anyways, but through my lineage, I've always been my people have been fighters and self-starters. They called my dad growing up odd man out. They used to make fun of his deep voice, and he always did things on his own. And for me, growing up, when my dad was in Nigeria, when I was 8, he went to Nigeria, tried to come back. He lost his visa. They took it for 10 years. So I was without my dad for 10 years of my life. And I share this because you need some background. Anyways, and I try to go fast. But being a twin, a youngest of 4, And being a twin that was into sports, and my twin was into band and the baritone, and my sisters were doing their thing, 4 years older than us. I was the kid that was seen as the bad one. I was the kid that was growing and testosterone was raging, and I wanted to fit in with the kids in school, but I didn't fit in because I was black, ninja boy, ah booty scratcher. And I always I felt lost. And I felt lost because I was growing apart from my brother in interest in the home. We used to wear the same things, same outfits, same. Anybody with twins out there, stop doing that. Stop doing that. Allow your kids to wear whatever. But anyways, I grew curious about the abilities and the people I grew up with. I used to get up out of bed, walk out of my house, look to the right, look to the left. Everybody playing hoops. Everybody, even the old folks. And they wouldn't roast you if you was good. And they championed your talent if you was good. And so I just picked that up. Why did I say this? Because I found myself late nights playing. Late with grown men on different streets, staying out and going to my friend's house to spend the night. And my mom would always call me mad, worried, all these things. And I'm always like, I don't want to do it because I'm trying to figure out who I am. Odd man out, prideful man. And I'm saying that now because the pride is who I've been. And I believe the stage and what I want to do with whether it's a podcast, whether it's my voice, is to be a source of inspiration for the next generation, be able to provide for my family and to employ people, whether it's my siblings or my friends. I just want to be that person for people around me. And maybe that's why I'm pushing so hard after a bullseye that I can't really pinpoint. But I just know, bro, like, it almost makes me emotional. I'm always emotional, but I just know. I know God called me for more. I know it. Like, I feel it. Even if I don't feel it, I have a deep conviction that God called me for way more than where I'm at right now. And I just know that it's the steps to yield to him. And not even in a performative nature. It's just really understanding who he is for myself. You know, I grew up in the church. I've always been a believer. I've never questioned my faith in God. I've never questioned my following of God. But the actions of my life did not always align with, oh, that's a Christian Christ follower. No. And even now, obviously I identify with Christianity, but like, I don't want to no buts about it. Jesus Christ is Lord. I believe he died, rose. He gave me a Holy Spirit. I believe in all that. Just the term, I've said this before, because the word Christian has been used and the religion has been used to break down and to demonize and to just tear down people, my people. And I like to point to the kingdom message, being able to know that you're a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. And why did I get on that? Who knows? But this is Mind Bully Podcast. I happen to be the host. I always say it's our podcast, but I'm the host and I can talk. Hello. And I'm saying that, though, because whenever I have a deep conviction in the vision that I have, there has to be something that supports it. Like, I don't just have an idea and run off of it. I have an idea because my foundation says that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And so it's not on me trying to put so much pressure on myself, Norrance, and carry the burdens of everybody, Norrance, and try to run. I can do all things. I can do all things. That's not what it says. Continue. I can do all things through Christ, through Christ, through Christ, who strengthens me. And I know that as I delight myself in the Lord, he will give me the desires of my heart. I need you to understand that if you're watching this, as you delight yourself in the Lord, I believe that's Psalms 37:4. As you delight yourself in the Lord, he gives you desires of your heart. And it's not, oh, what if I desire something crazy? That's have some context, have some brains here in line with a godly life. Delighting yourself in the Lord is literally in line with godly life. As you delight yourself in the Lord, understand his character, understand the Holy One within you, understand your authority. You delight yourself in the Lord and you understand, oh, I can pray for this. A lot of people, here's the problem, and I want to go on rants. Who cares? We have been misled to think that, oh, we can't ask God for income, for funds, knowing that that's a challenge that majority of people on earth are dealing with. They need funds, they need health, emotional health, relational health, physical health. They need that. And so a lot of people say, oh, prosperity gospel. Don't preach, don't. Understand, brother, a principle here. Faith comes by hearing, and hearing of the word of God. Faith comes by hearing. You can use that for anything. Faith comes by hearing. So whatever you're hearing, you have what? Faith for. Again, faith comes by hearing. And it's not just faith comes by, I heard this, I faith it. No, it's hearing. And so how do you expect someone in this world system to believe God or believe, oh, I'm going to be a millionaire and I want to be a millionaire and I delight myself in the Lord and I can ask for that. Whatsoever you desire when you pray, believe that you receive and you will have. And faith comes with action. Faith without works is dead. So you can't say, God, I want to be a millionaire. I want to make this money and sit on your hands. He don't honor that. He honors works. He honors effort. He honors tithe and offering. He's given back to the kingdom of heaven. Showing that, hey, my 10%, I believe in God. Yes, my 10% go to you. Hell, because he came to fulfill law. He didn't come to abolish the law. Look in the law, tithing is a part of it. Look in Acts, what they do for them churches. They brought all the money and said, hey, we gonna help the people, all people. Anyways, I'm preaching now. I'm not trying to preach. Long story short is this. When it comes down to wanting to become wealthy and wanting to provide, I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to send and give a lot of money to a lot of people. It's not just money, it's access. And I'm grateful to be able to do that in some circumstances already with bringing friends and bringing people I know in front of people that can actually turn things for them in their specific need. Oh, let's say you a carpenter. I know a whole bunch of carpenters. The bad example, but you get the point. Whenever I'm able to provide access to people that wouldn't have had it without me being a conduit to that access, it just makes me feel like this is what life is about. Obviously, it's sharing the gospel. And for me as a believer is to implore you to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, because he changes your life and he changes the way that you look at your life and that you look at yourself, and he's able to give you new eyes in the same situation where you feel hate. Boom, you have an encounter with God. You see love. It's not like a psych job. It changes you from the inside out. And so the external might look the same, but the inside is changed. And for the rest of the time, it's your big fat head that needs to change. It's our big fat head that needs to change. It's called the renewing of your mind that needs to change. And that comes in part by watching what you're hearing. You need to understand that you're free of the judgment, you're free of the chains, and you're free of the pain that you're putting on yourself, because you can't carry that into 2025. It will break you down. It literally will. And I'm speaking that to myself as well. It will break me down if I keep putting unnecessary pressure over myself. Oh, I got to put this out. I got to do this. 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 No, you can get help, Lawrence. And dang, it's all, you got to figure out how you're going to get help. You got to figure out what to, trial and error. And God guides your steps. Hello? Your steps are already ordered. They're ordered. Your steps, as you're listening, watching, they're ordered. It's on you to step, not plan. Is this the perfect step to take? Who knows unless you step? It's funny. I want to read a verse to kind of close this out. I don't know how long I've been going. It's 34 minutes as I look, because it's so funny how God works. I believe I finally got my 2024 verse with like 8, 9, or 10 days to spare. And I want to read it because I almost memorized it, but I want to make sure I get it all the way right. And it's my 2024 verse because it's Proverbs 20:24. So it's Proverbs chapter 20, verse 24. Proverbs, article 20, subsection 24. I like calling the Bible like a legal book, a legal document. Anyways, it says, a person's steps are directed by the Lord. How then can anyone understand their own way? Again, a person's steps are ordered. Let me see. Yes, ordered, directed, same thing. A person's steps are directed by the Lord. How then can anyone understand their way? How then can anyone understand their own way? How can anyone understand the steps that they've taken? It's so powerful to know that, because the judgment that you're placing on yourself about the particular steps that you're taking in your life, because this vision that you have is this whole thing. It's about working your gift, working your gift, working your gift. Again, a person's steps are directed by the Lord. How then can anyone understand their own way? You are trying to judge everything because you feel like you understand your own way. When how you got here, if you're honest, you could not ever understand. But you did something. Again, a person's steps are directed by the Lord. How then can anyone understand their own way? My verse for the whole 2024 is Proverbs 20:24. God directs. Yield. Be a vessel. Get out the way. Work your gift. Work it. Sit with it. Test it. Plan it. You got a gift. I don't know the gift that you have. You know deep down. And it's to look at you, to sit there with the gift and to know. Because I say the gift so much because I speak to me, and I can't speak to the masses because that's not my function. I'm not here for everybody. I've done that. I've tried that in previous episodes years ago. Oh, I'm trying to talk to them and talk to them. No, I'm going to talk to people like me in a transition stage in their life, whether it's away from a job, a whole thing you've been doing for your life. For me, it's the game of basketball. I also had a corporate job with Amazon. I've also done all these things, and it's in this stage of, oh, is it content creation? Oh, is it speaking? Oh, is it? I don't know what it is, but I know my big fat mouth is a gift. The words that I speak, I'm just going to sell myself at improving that, whether that's in a podcast, whether that's in a keynote, whether that's in a speech, whether that's writing, whether I'm going to work it. What is that for you? Because we try to plan, I am this person and try to get this job, and you have no idea what God has for you. And stop putting caps on your own dreams based on what you see, based on what people say about you, based on what you've seen. Why do people love traveling? Because boom, it's instantaneous that you see differently. Boom, you see differently. And it changes your whole thing. You come back like, oh, maybe this isn't the way life works. Duh. Live by faith. It's the most freeing thing to be able to share and to experience this revelation right now that I'm getting. Hopefully you're getting something out of this. If you're not, toodaloo, because I ain't for you. And you ain't for me. And we ain't for everybody. But in all seriousness, stop criticizing yourself so hard. You can breathe. You're putting so much pressure on yourself. And I need you to understand that it's bogging you down and it's hurting yourself. And I don't care how many times I'm going to say it. I might have said it in the last podcast. I might have said it in the last podcast. I might have said it in the last podcast. I never listen to them. I just share and I talk and I keep it going. There's consistency of thought and talk as I work, as I write. I had cards that said, oh, I was going to use their We're Not Really Strangers cards I was going to talk about because I'm like, I don't know what to say. You know, no, bro. I'm going to talk. I'm going to show up. I'm going to show up. And with the conviction and the knowing and the knowledge that I'm being led to speak to you. If you like anything that I've shared, if you like the opportunity and the ability to hear somebody speak about certain topics that you resonate with, if you like challenging your negative voice. And there's another thing that when I was writing, I really want to zero in on for 2025. This podcast has really morphed into different things. But again, I want to get back to the interviews with people, but I also want to highlight and shape my episodes around tackling taboo topics. And so if you have a taboo topic that you would like heard or voiced on this podcast, please shout me wherever you can. Mind Believe Podcast on IG, KingNo_ on IG. On this Spotify creators, I'm still trying to figure that out as well. But I just know that on YouTube as well. But I know that the opportunity and the ability to build something and to call out a vision, I don't have to know what it's going to look like, but I know that the intention, and in your life, the intention that you're making and the voice that you're sharing, there are people, I'm telling you, just like this podcast, there are people that are going to connect with you based on what you do. But I need you to share what you do, to show what you do, and to not push down and say, oh, my story is not good enough to tell. I don't have anything to share. Yes, you do. You need to admire the gift that God's given you. You've admired so many other gifts in other people. It's time to look at you. It's time to look at you and to know that God made you and God placed that gift inside of you for a reason, that you're not here by chance, that you're not here on a whim, that you're not here on vacation. You're here on purpose. And if there's still air flowing through your lungs, you have work to do. So if you like any of that, do me a favor, rate and review this podcast. It does the world for me, to many homes and hearts, to hear this message, to hear what we're trying to do, what we are doing, tackling the negative voice, and to challenge that voice every single week. Hey, man, I had a tough week. Let me look at what I thought. Let me challenge myself. Let me write out my thoughts and get aligned with where I want to go and pick each other up. It's powerful. And I just want to really do this to another level. I'm tired of, not saying I'm playing small, but I'm tired of just, I want to do this in a different level. And I'm really extroverted. And I want to do this in real life. I want to do this in real life with people to see. Obviously I see it by faith, but I want to be with people, you know? And for me, it's just like making money and trying to monetize it and everything. And there's so many things. And even me, I drive a 2008 BMW X5 that I need to get rid of. But for me, I'm like, I don't care. I'm selling out for this. But I'm saying this because this is December. My sister just got a new car. I'm looking for a new car and all these things. And for you might have so many things and ideas, but then life with the bills and where you're going to go and what job you're going to have. Oh, the gift is not realistic to look at, but that is your way in. That's your way to your dreams, is the gift that God's given you. I really believe that. I'm standing on that. I know that about you. I know that about me. And so how do you carve out time to work on what God's given you? I need you to answer that. But if you like any of that, like I said, share, rate, all that. Bye-bye. 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 Till the next one. Bye-bye.
Hey, Genix, you going off.